Hey guys, RW here. Just crafted another pair of walnut target grips. Here you go. Get ready to go down to the shop and dunk them in some linseed oil. And you'll see a real transformation in the color. But I think you can see I put a lot of time really into the finish sanding. I spend as much time sanding as I do making them. Alright then, let's head on down to the shop and get her done. Okay, so here's the grips. Give you as close a look as this camera will get. Love that, huh? Really nice. Okay, let's put them in the linseed oil. Let's see how they change, huh? I'm going to go ahead and submerge it. See if I can get it under the surface. Almost. A little more. Get it under the surface. Come on. Come on, baby. Yeah, I'm just going to pull it out for a second just so you can see. We'll hold one side by side and you can see the transformation. Pretty interesting, huh? Really something. Alright. I'm going to infuse these with the linseed oil. Speed the process up a little bit. And I'll show you how I'm going to go about it. I'm going to put a little powder coated aluminum screen on there with a weight to keep them from floating. And I'll submerge them with linseed oil. And the reason I've got such a tall container is there's a likelihood that bubbles will start coming out and foam up a little bit. It's just my guess. And that's why you want more liquid in there than you think, because things happen. So let me get over here where you can look down inside the vacuum container. All this is a sturdy aluminum pot with a Lexan top that has a neoprene gasket on it. And you hook it up to a vacuum pump like you'd use for, fixing your air conditioning on your car. And you let it run. So what I'll do, I'll make sure the check valve is open. I want to start the pump with the deal open here, and we can watch it and see if anything interesting happens, like foaming bubbles. That would help. Alright, so now we're creating vacuum. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this check valve. Start making vacuum build up inside. The theory is this is going to make all the air inside the grips evacuate. Sorry about the loud noise. The pumps are loud, so there's nothing you can do about that. Okay, you can see it's starting to foam up. What that means is that all the air inside those pieces of walnut is being evacuated. And those bubbles you see are that air. Did not want to neglect giving you a shot of the vacuum gauge so you can see the kind of vacuum I'm capable of pulling here up in the mountains. I only get about 27. 29 would be nice, but 27 is pretty good. As you can see, it's foaming up. What I got here is a little Robinair, nothing to it. Got it off Amazon for less than 200 bucks. Real handy thing to have. Hey, RW here. It's been a couple hours. Let's have a look. The bubbles have died down. Look at that. Very cool, huh? Yeah. Alright. What I'm going to do is, with the vacuum still running, I'm going to crack the ball valve and let off the pressure. You're going to see a lot of those bubbles disappear. This is a good time for that stuff to be, the wood to be under the material, the oil or whatever, resin, whatever you're doing. only problem with these little vacuum pumps is they're extremely messy. You get oil vapor everywhere, man. It's just crazy. So there's the parts. And I'm going to transfer them to this Tupperware. Now let's see if they're still floating, because they should have sucked almost all the air out of them. They might still float. Yeah, they're not completely saturated. It's only been a little while, a couple hours. Alright. My nasty oily thing over out here out of the way. Take a look at these babies. Wow, that is really something to behold. It's very, very nice. So here I am finishing up these grips. You saw me infuse them with the linseed oil using my vacuum chamber, and since then I have put about 10 coats of my special blend. I call it Linwax. It's a mixture of linseed oil and beeswax and steam distilled turpentine. So, and then it's been steel wooled. After a couple coats, I steel wool it, and then I clean it off real good, and then I apply more coats. So I'm just showing you, this is really the part that makes it work, is skin against wood. That's why it's a hand rubbed finish. It's literally rubbed with my hand all over. I spend days doing it. I don't spend a lot of time every day doing it. It only takes me a few minutes every day, but every day in the morning and the evening I come down and I deal with the grips. So it's a process that takes me, after someone orders grips and I receive the material, it takes me 5 to 7 days, depending on the weather, to get a really nice finish. And this finish is unique compared to polyurethanes or a lot of other things, because it's easy to repair. It's extremely resistant to weather and to atmospheric changes. I got that one all nice and slathered up. So after I've got all these coats on here, you know, there's different options for where to go with it from there. You can just leave it the way it is, which is, once it's buffed out, it's got kind of a nice low luster, warmth to it. It's very attractive. But I go one step further at this point. What I do is I make sure that the whole surface is just slightly tacky with my Linwax. Okay. So I've got a nice tacky surface all the way around every part of it with my Linwax, and what I've been doing all week is I rub it by hand. And you can see, even though I haven't buffed this out or anything, there's no stain. That's just what this wood over here looks like. So pretty amazing to me. This wood turns into that. And the way I get my final treatment on it, which I feel really seals it really well, pretty much for the long term for my end user, my customer. Then I give it a toss in some, this is refined beeswax, it's pure white, so it dries pure clear. Shake off any excess. Okay, now I've frosted it pretty much with beeswax. That's way too much beeswax down there. Don't want too much beeswax, but it frosts it basically with a single layer of beeswax, which is pretty convenient. Imagine trying to individually place each one of those grains there by hand. That would take a while. Anyway, so I try to handle it by edge as I pull it out, because it has a tendency to fall off if you touch it, but that's okay. And you'll notice there's certain areas that didn't really grab a lot. That's okay. Then I take my heat gun. Thank you, Painful 13, for giving this to me. You are a champion. I run it on low, and so I melt the beeswax. And what I do is I move around a whole lot because I do not want to overheat the piece of wood. This wood is infused with linseed oil. And what will happen is if this wood gets really hot, the linseed oil will form little droplets all over the surface of it. All I want to do is get my beeswax to start melting. What I do now is I get this whole thing to melt onto it. Okay. Which takes a little while, and there's a lot of excess wax that's going to run off. That's why I've got the paper towels to absorb that extra wax. I don't want to get anything in one place too hot. I just want to keep everything fluid until it's all clear. Isn't this fascinating? This is like the world's most boring video, but I did get a request. We would love to see melting beeswax. Well, now you've seen it. This is melting beeswax. Okay, I've now got all the beeswax to be clear. I'll just run around it a couple more times just to make sure it's nice and loose. Okay, round, 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 round. Okay, before I run out of time on my camera here, which is rapidly approaching, what I do is I take terry cloth and I wipe it down real quick to get as much of the excess off as I can. Plus there's going to be some on the back and stuff that I'm going to peel off later. I don't care about the back. The back's been very, very well sealed, so I'm not worried about putting wax on the back. The wax is really to give it this wonderful grip for a shooter, okay? For a single-handed pistol shooting guy or gal wants to have the ultimate tacky, wonderful grip for their... See, all this, I'm just going to knock that off. I don't need any of that. Okay. But what I wanted to try and get in here before the camera totally runs out in like 1 minute is I'll just buff up as quick as I can. Okay, and you're going to get to see the final finish minus a few little white blobs of wax here and there that I'm going to buff off. But let me give that a real good buff. Okay. This is what I'm going for. A low gleam. It's got a real warmth to it. And this is my proprietary finish. This is how I do it, guys. I came up with it on my own, and I just think it's amazing. But it still takes a lot of time. You've got to build up, build up, build up. And then at the very end, get it a little slathered up, shake, and bake. And then, of course, you have to get rid of all the excess. All the excess wax goes off. You got to get rid of all of it. And give everything a really good buff with the terry. Thanks for watching.